when government didn't do what it was supposed to do, when it didn't prepare well, or when the public didn't respond the way they were supposed to, and folks needed to help, who came to help was really strange, and why they came to help was really strange. A huge influx of people that were motivated by their faith. You know, and this isn't a matter of philosophy. I'm now just observing what's actually occurring on the street. And so I'll tell you one or two stories. As I was, Baton Rouge is about 90 miles from New Orleans. The Emergency Operations Center is there. And I'd get in my car and I'd drive down to New Orleans every day. I'd kind of get through the bushes and the weeds and would get to where we needed to get and would rescue people. And then would get back in the car and go back. And during that travail, I'd run into people who shouldn't be where they were, rescuing people as well. And so on the corner of Napoleon and St. Charles, which is in a really nice residential neighborhood, which is now completely underwater, I came across an old white guy who was in a white van who looked like he was about to have a heart attack. And I get out of the car and I said, "What are you doing?" He says, "Well, I'm rescuing people." I said, "Well, who are you?" He said, "My name's so-and-so." I said, "Well, where are you from?" He said, "I'm from Dallas." I said, "How the hell did you get in here?" You know, because now the city's cordoned off by National Guards. He says, "Well, I kind of snuck in." And I said, "Well, okay, what are you doing?" He goes, "Well, you see that skiff over there?" He says, I'm getting in that skiff and I'm driving up and down, you know, what were roadways that are now waterways, and I'm rescuing people." And I said, "Well, why did you come?" He said, "Well, I'm a minister." And he goes, "I was just called to come help." And I said, "So you just left your house from Dallas, which is a 7-hour drive. You drove here, you snuck through armed guards, and now you are rescuing people." And he says, "Yeah." And I said, "Why are you doing it?" He goes, "I just felt like that's what I had to do." I want you to think about how innovative this guy was. And he says, "But I'm really feeling really bad." And I said, "Why are you feeling bad?" He goes, "Well, I just feel a little bit guilty." I said, "Why would you feel guilty? How many people have you saved?" He goes, "About 300 people." I said, "Okay." I said, "So what's the problem?" He says, "Well, you see that boat over there?" He goes, "Yeah, it ran out of gas." I said, "Okay, what's the problem?" He goes, "Well, I stole gas from those cars. I sucked it out, and I put the gas in the car." And I said, "Listen, pal." I said, "You don't need me to tell you this, but I think God's going to forgive you for stealing that gas." Right? And so the next day, I was driving down to go back to St. Bernard to rescue people, and I'm at Harrah's Casino, which is our largest building. And because nobody could go anywhere, they started congregating. Again, there's this kind of another guy, big bushy red hair, looked like he came off the street. He was standing there with a grill. And I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "I'm from Daphne, Alabama." I said, "Why are you here?" He goes, "Well, you know, I was just called to come help. I used to work in the Superdome. I went to Daphne, Alabama. I realized people, you know, needed help, so I came." I said, "What are you doing with that grill?" He goes, "Well, I'm going to feed people." I said, "Well, how did you get here?" And he goes, "Well, I have a friend on the police department, and I snuck in through I-10. And I said, "That's really good." And I said, "What are you going to do?" He goes, "I'm going to feed the first responders." Now, I want you to understand that other people who wanted to feed first responders waited for FEMA to tell them, "We'll reimburse you for whatever we're going to give you." Now, this is what this guy did. He put out a call to all his friends around the country and said, "I'm going to New Orleans to feed people." And he goes, "Send me whatever you have." And he says, the next day when I went back, he had 2 grills. And he said, "Look, hey, you're the lieutenant governor. Yeah, I need some help." He goes, "I have a truck of ice that's stuck, and they won't let him in. Can you tell the state police to let that truck?" I said, "Where'd you get that truck of ice from?" He goes, "Well, I talked to friends around the country, and they started shipping ice in." The next day I came back. The guy's got 8 grills, right? He's got a camper that's in there, and he's got boxes of hamburger patties. Do you know that this man started feeding people? He fed 3,000 people every day for 15 days while the recovery effort going on without 1 cent of government dollars. Now, that guy, driven by faith, maybe he had some other motivation, came in, had nothing, broke all the rules, set up one thing. He basically set up a kitchen that he financed through private donations from around the country, set up a system to get it in, set up a distribution system to get them out, fed 5,000 people, you know, over a 2 or 3 day period of time, and then over 15 days fed 3,000 people a day, and fed and supported the first responders who were then there actually saving the real lives. Now, so what I saw was the human spirit saying, "I'm in a difficult circumstance. I don't need anybody to give me permission. I'm going to create a whole new business, and I'm going to do it in a short period of time. I'm going to deliver a product, and then I'm going to help save lives." That's what I saw. That's what I learned from Katrina.